And time for a dose of culture, and the American Film Festival in Deauville is on now in the western region of Normandy, the week having been filled with big Hollywood premieres presented by the likes of Johnny Depp and Oliver Stone. Today is also the last day for the competition at the festival that's known for uncovering hidden gems in independent films. Past winners have gone on to be both critical and commercial hits, such as Little Miss Sunshine, being John Malkovich, Crash and Whiplash. Now, France 24's very own Jeannie Godula is also the festival's host, and I'm delighted to say she joins me now live from Deauville after obviously a very, very busy week. Jeannie, tomorrow we're going to be marking the 20th anniversary of those terrorist attacks of 9/11, and that's something that's on a lot of people's minds in Deauville as well.
Absolutely. Hi, Annette. Of course, this is the American Film Festival, and while the attacks of September 11th, 2001 definitely left their mark around the world, it was a particularly difficult time for Americans. It still weighs heavy on many people's minds, even today, even 2 decades later, at this kind of fun, joyful event like a film festival. Well, our team in Deauville actually went to speak to some of the American talent who were here to find out how they feel about this upcoming anniversary.
Horrible day. It was a tragic day, and above all, I think the repercussions of that day were more tragic because you know what happened in Afghanistan and in Iraq, but above all, our civil liberties in the country were curtailed in America.
If you look at any film in America, major or independent, that came out after September 11th, you know, any brown person is a bad guy. And hopefully, and I believe that the majority of Americans don't feel that way anymore.
I was in 4th grade, I believe, and my dad was actually flying to New York that day. That's why I vividly remember it. Obviously, he was not on one of those planes. I think our teacher sat us down and was like, we're going to have a moment of silence. This just happened. And I think the shock of it was more than anything, especially as a young kid. It's a tragic, tragic day.
And just a reminder that we'll be marking the 20th anniversary of 9/11 throughout the day tomorrow here on France 24. Jeannie, in the meantime, tell us a bit more about last night in Deauville, where there was the world premiere of that new film from iconic French director Claude Lelouch.
Exactly. Claude Lelouch, one of France's most prolific filmmakers. He's been making movies, Annette, for the past 60 years. That's some 50 feature films. Lelouch is perhaps most famous outside of France for his 1966 film called Un homme et une femme, A Man and a Woman. That film was actually shot in part here in Deauville. It went on to win the Palme d'Or. That's the very top honor at the Cannes Film Festival. It also won 2 Oscars, including Best Foreign Film and Best Screenplay. Well, last night here in Deauville, Claude Lelouch presented his latest film, L'amour, c'est mieux que la vie. Love is better than life. That stars French actors Gérard Darmon and Sandrine Bonnaire. Now, Love is Better Than Life had been rumored to be Claude Lelouch's very last feature film, but last night, the 83-year-old director on stage said that he's hoping this film will actually be the first of a trilogy. Our Clovis Casali went to meet him.
My trilogy is constructed around certitude. I'm convinced that love is better than life. I'm convinced that things in life never pan out as expected. So the trilogy will talk about life, love, death, but in a light-hearted way.
I have to say, Jeannie, for an 83-year-old, he looks pretty good. But tonight in Deauville, the festival is also going to be screening the 3rd ever premiere of that upcoming massive event film Dune, after its world premiere in Venice and a second premiere in Paris this week.
Dune, one of the most anticipated films of the year. It's an adaptation of one of the most popular sci-fi books of all time, written by Frank Herbert in 1965. Now, for fans of the novel, this new version of Dune covers just the first half of the book. It is due to have a sequel with the second half. That is if the film is a hit, and that is really a big if, because there have been a few adaptations of Dune for the big screen over the years, but none of them really worked, were big hits. At times, they were disowned by by their own directors, like the 1984 version by David Lynch starring Kyle MacLachlan. David Lynch says he never wants to see that movie again. This new version is from director Denis Villeneuve, who was the director of films like Arrival, Blade Runner 2049, lots of experience with big blockbusters, and Dune does look to be impressing critics so far. And Annette, for our French fans, in addition to having a French-Canadian director, the film has another French touch, as the star of Dune is a young Franco-American actor named Timothée Chalamet. You might know him for his role in films like Call Me By Your Name, which was a big indie hit, or Little Women. This movie is really his first big action role as Dune's mythical Paul Atreides. Here's a look at the trailer.
If anything happens, will you protect Paul?
With my life.
Only together can we stand a chance.
It's time. Dune coming out here in France next week, September 15th, being screened here in Deauville tonight. It doesn't come out in the States, Annette, though, until late October. And the studio, Warner Brothers, is so concerned about people pirating this event film before it's released. Tonight, they're making everyone who comes into that 1,500-seat theater put their phones in a sealed bag for the length of the film. Now, hopefully that shouldn't diminish the experience for such a big event film, which is truly meant to be seen on a giant screen.
Thanks for that, Jenny. It's certainly getting a lot of positive vibes on the internet from what I've read. That's Jenny Godula reporting for us from Deauville. And that's it for this edition. Do stay with us here on France 24.